So important. What makes you happy? You know, that's the whole essence of life. To me, you know, doing these endurance events, makes me happy, and making other people's lives better makes me happy. Those are the two.
All right, looks like we are live, but let me just close something here because I'm gonna hear echo. There you go. What's up, Ironman and Beyond community? Swimmers, cyclists, runners, Ironman finishers, wannabe triathletes, busy high achievers all over the world. This is Coach Shangrila and
Vineta.
Yay! And we are excited for tonight's training because we have a special guest, Javey from Texas. He's live today. He's calling. He's 2 hours ahead of us. And we are excited because today we are going to talk about becoming superhuman at 50 plus age, to basically managing your time and excelling in almost all areas: work, triathlon training, family, in community, while learning a new sport. And I know it's not just one sport. We're talking about swim, bike, run. Yeah. And then what's good about today is because we're not just going to be talking about that. Some of these things that JV will actually share, you may also relate. One of the things that we are also going to talk about how to overcome your fear or any doubts that you may have in swimming or open water swim. Or let's say you have bigger goals. How can you actually add that into your plate while managing stress? Because that's very important. Because yes, we love triathlon or we want to be triathlete, but how can you even do that? I mean, training for a full marathon is already a lot, right? And plus, last but not the least, and most importantly, without getting sick and without getting injured. Are you guys excited? So if you are listening to this live or viewing it in live in your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, say hashtag live so we know that you're listening live. Or if it's a replay, hashtag replay. And of course, if you're seeing me or Vineta or JV here and you can hear us okay, tell us also. If not, please tell us, because sometimes our technology is not working with us. Let us know also. All right. So let me tell you how we met JV. And actually, when I tell met, we're talking about met online. Although he has been with us since May 2019, we've been talking a lot on the phone, on text message, on Zoom, and we have not met in person. Hopefully someday, JV. Hopefully someday. So JV came from a zero swim background. He was dependent on snorkel. And in fact, he was one of the members in Ironman and Beyond posting, "Hey, coach, I swam 1,000, 2,000. This is the longest distance I've swum, 3,000. He's always very happy. It's like a milestone for him. Okay. But at the same time, he's very busy. He wants to be active. He wants to be challenged. He loves setting goals and he wants to achieve them. When I met him online back in 2019, he finished a full marathon. He finished 50-yard swim. He also finished 23 miles of riding. So, because we have that form, and I asked him, like, where you're at now? So those are his answers then. Okay. So he contacted me back in 2019 and he said, "Coach, I want to finish a sprint triathlon and I want that as soon as possible. And also, I want to be an Ironman finisher." When? He said 5 years. So that will be 2024. All right. So we'll check it out, where he's at in his goal. How does he feel about triathlon since then, which is 2019? As you guys all know, we had COVID last year. It's at peak and races are not there. But today is going to be very inspirational. Okay. There's a lot of athletes. So if you guys are one of them that you feel like, yes, that sounds like just me, this particular train is going to be very inspirational, because if Javey can do this, how about you, right? So go in the comments below. Let us know if you can hear us, please. Okay. Ask questions. This is a two-way conversation. It's you, I, JV. Vinetta will read the comments, the question that you may have. All right. So it's not just us. All right. So is interaction. All right. So I want to start off quickly here. Who else currently is on their 50s trying to become a triathlete? But, and there's a blank. Okay. Maybe, maybe you also had a back injury because that's what JB had back in many years ago. Maybe that, right? Or maybe I want to be a triathlete, but, swimming. That's me. I've been wanting to be a triathlete. It took me 2 years. Is that you too? Let us know under the comment. Can you check, Vinetta?
Yes.
Yeah. So, or let's say you want to be a triathlete, okay? But I'm so dependent with pull buoy, lava pants, wetsuit, snorkel, like JV. I mean, back in the days, I was dependent with wetsuit. I cannot swim in the open water with wetsuit. And I know it's that fear. Am I gonna drown? Of course. Like who doesn't fear that? Well, some people are okay with that in the beginning, even though they're new. But I was one of them. I was dependent on wetsuit. Or if you're dependent, wearing on lava pants or having pull buoy in the pool because it's easier because something's going in your legs. Is that you? It's okay to be honest here. Allow yourself to actually admit it. Okay? Because it's when you admit and acknowledge it, then that's a start. Okay, looks like I'm here to take actions, right? Unless if you're in denial, then that's different. Or are you one of those who are actually super busy, just like JV, also have charity work, okay, have different side projects, okay, because that's what how JV was, back in 2019 and still now, actually, okay. So I'm gonna let him tell you his story, but go ahead under the comment below if you're one of those athletes like you want to be a triathlete, but you're busy. You want to be a triathlete, but you don't know where to start. It's just so much information online. You want to be a triathlete. You try different things, but it's just so hard. You always make mistakes, or maybe hopefully not so much hurting yourself. Okay.
Okay, so let me just welcome some people. I'm seeing a lot of people logging in live.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Teresa. Hi, Takis.
Hi, Takis. Happy birthday. All right, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony, Bob, Mauricio. Hi, Andrea. Welcome.
Awesome.
Awesome to have you guys.
There's Ashley, Sarah, Aubrey, Pauline. Welcome. So, well, let's have JV now. JV's 2 hours ahead as we speak. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again for achieving your recent back-to-back wins. Recently, I mean, that was only last month. You already have two triathlon races, and one of them is actually your first time in open water swim. And you placed top of your age group. And then it was just last weekend wherein you actually biked the mountains Saturday, 75 miles with 4,000 feet elevation gain. And then you went back again. Okay, 6 miles with 1,500 feet elevation gain.
That was on Sunday.
And you're here and you're back to work and you're okay. And then guess what? Next week you have 5K. The next week you have marathon. I mean, it's back to back. Who does that? All right, don't you get tired? So let's welcome JV. How are you feeling today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. You forget kind of where you began. And but yeah, I'll tell you a little background. I had been through, when I decided I was in Taekwondo, and so I had done some tournaments. I even went to England for the World Cup. So I really enjoyed that. I had about 10 years of Taekwondo, and our studio closed. Mm-hmm. And so then I was kind of left without, something to do. And I've always wanted to do triathlons. So I said, I could do this. I could do a triathlon in probably 2-3 weeks training. And
okay.
You don't know what you don't know. And so I said, okay, well, I'm a runner, and I probably just have to go buy a bike at Academy for, $200. And, by the way, I don't know how to swim. I could probably learn how to swim. I get into hotel pools, so that's the same thing. And so I started, going to the pool, and it wasn't easy. I couldn't even do one lap. And then I started to realize I had fear of the water, very bad fear, like panic attacks in the water. And so then I went to the local, in a town nearby, I went to a local swimming place that did classes, and I took the 4-year-old classes. That's where they put me in.
4-year-old.
And they really didn't teach me right because I couldn't even do one lap. I did the whole program, and it was horrible. And so then I went through 2 or 3 other coaches, and I still couldn't swim one lap. And I started getting very frustrated. It was like a year into it. And so I said, I think I'm going to give up. And so I spoke to my cousin in LA, Gracie, and I was telling her, I know she was an Ironman, and she told me about you. And I said, this is the last coach. If I can't figure out how to do this, I'm going to quit. I can't. It's been a year of struggling, and I couldn't even do 100 yards in the pool. And you took a different approach. It wasn't about swim from here to the other side of the pool. It was, let's do these drills. Let's do this. Let's work on this. And then, I think within a month or 2, we did the first triathlon. It was really exciting. Yeah. And so that helped a lot. And so that was my journey. And so I forget how many I've done now. Probably 10, you think? 10 sprints.
You've been racing.
We didn't. I think I did one last year because of the pandemic, but I did. 3 or 4 the first year, and then I think a few this year. And so, I think 9 or 10. I think I've done, and so of just triathlons, And so I'm looking forward to next year because I'm ready to do open water events for next year. So.
Well, you start. You start with nothing, and then now you can't even count it. How do you feel about that? You lost counts.
Yeah. And it's really made me a different athlete. Being coached has really made me a different athlete because, especially with triathlons, you just learn, you've made me learn so much about being a better athlete, because I have the grit, I have the spirit of an endurance athlete, but you want to there's more to that. You want to make sure and not injure yourself, nutrition, when to rest, because you pull the reins on me sometimes, because I just want to be like a wild horse. And so you pull the reins sometimes to prevent injury, and you kind of say, hey, hold on, don't run or do anything tomorrow. You have to rest. And I like that because that's what you could take you to the point of, getting injured, and I don't even remember the last time I was injured. I think it was, I had some leg issues, but God, I don't even remember. It's probably been year and a half, 2 years. You probably don't even remember either because it's been so long I haven't been injured, and that's great. That's really nice because that really, it sets you back, weeks. And so anyway, that's pretty exciting. I think you froze on me, Coach.
There you go. We're getting there. Thanks for being patient, Javey.
No problem.
We're gonna resume to
where we left off, I think.
Where we left off. Right. Looks like we're live. Part 2! Who's ready for part 2? You guys miss us? Long time no see. All right, so hopefully everyone's still here. Really sorry about that. Something went wrong with the internet, so we had to restart our box, our magical box. But as I said, we have Javey here from Texas. Don't worry, I'm not going to start with the long introduction. But so Javey was about to tell us a story about becoming superhuman at 50 years old, managing his time, excelling at work, triathlon, family, and serving the community without getting injured, and while learning the new sport. So, rewind, Javey, if you don't mind. Go ahead. Let's resume.
Okay, so the coaching with a particular coach is what really transformed me to be able to accomplish being a triathlete. Once I did, then it just really it was great because I kind of opened the door into triathlons and how different that is compared to what, the Taekwondo I was doing. And I had done marathons before. So the running, so it really, it made me feel like I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed being a triathlete. And so, of course, we traded in the $200 bike for a real bike. And then now I got a real bike.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Don't mention the cost at my household. But so that is and then just being able to do, I think I've done 4,400 yard swim nonstop in a
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah.
uh, and so I did 2 marathons for my birthday last winter, and 2 marathons back to back. So it's really being coach really has propelled me into a different endurance athlete. And so that's why my weakness is swimming. It still is. But this year, the previous triathlons I did, I always got panic attacks at the start of a race. And so, because I have PTSD from being almost dying in the ocean one time in my mid-20s. And so this year was the first year we finally conquered that. And so I really attribute all that to coaching. There's no doubt that I couldn't have done that without coaching, because there's so much you don't know what you don't know. And so you could read all day long, you could see articles, but you have to have somebody experienced. Not only, is coaching, you being my coach has helped in the sport, but you've also been a life coach, because you understand us hyper personalities are, personalities that we're like a little dynamite wrapped up in a bag, that we have to manage that energy and so that's really helped, life coach and athlete coach. And so that, one thing I really like about being coaching is when right before a race, right the night before, you have really nobody to talk to. You can talk to your Ironman friends or your triathlon friends, but to actually have somebody to say, hey, what do you think? What's the plan? What's going to be my pace in the race? What should I concentrate on the water? And remember, you always get a panic attack at the start of the race. Here's what we got to do. Those things, there's just so much value in that you can't put a money amount on that, because that really, it really makes you have a game plan instead of just going to the race and going all out with no plan. It sets you up for failure. So I think that's what really has helped me, and of course, the technology. I never, when I did marathons, I never had a Garmin and things like that. I just did them, because they were fun.
2019 only. Is it 2018? Yeah. That was very recent.
Yeah. And so I didn't know any about that, the watts. What does that mean? Watts, now it's, when I was doing this past weekend, I'm doing 400 watts at 6 miles an hour, that you're kind of go, 6 miles an hour doesn't mean nothing. The watts, I am really pushing my body to the limit of dying here, And before that, I would have felt bad because I was going 6 miles an hour on the bike. I would have said, oh God, I'm a horrible person, horrible athlete. So, all that stuff you've taught me, and it's really,
Actually, Javey saying about the double 2 Ironman, but what he two marathon, but what he's talking about, he actually did on his birthday a 52.26, 52.4, 26.7, yeah, 52.4, 50, excuse me, 52.7.
That was the hardest part, the 0.7.
0.7 miles of running, and he did not just actually run that. So first of all, he wanted to be special. So it was for his birthday. He turned 52. That was back in November, December.
November last year.
November of last year during COVID year. And at the time, his intention is actually to raise funds for children with disabilities. And he
the Texas Lions Camp in Kerrville, Texas, it's a summer camp for kids with physical disabilities.
And he raised at least $10,000 in that just one day, a special day, help a lot of those disabled children.
That's
congratulations. Impressive. That's very impressive. And then guess what? So he did 52.4 miles that last November. Coach, there's no race. Let me do a race. So while I was racing here, doing my Guinness World Record, he's racing on the other side of Texas. And then I was just so happy. And then he said, like, Coach, what about if I do half marathon back to back? All right.
Oh, it was the 12 days of Christmas.
There
the 12 days leading up to Christmas.
Oh,
we had to do something. So.
And that was December. So he did 12 half marathons in 12 days. How crazy is that? He did another race. He made his race, right? He didn't need to wait for, hey, I signed up for the race. Well, you got to do something. And it's not like he's slow. he averaged on that half marathon at 2 hours and 16 minutes back to back.
Wow.
Did you get a medal, JP?
No, I just did it on my own.
No need for a medal. What did you get from that by doing that, JV?
I was happy. I was happy.
You are happy. So you like setting goals and achieving them. Good.
That's very impressive. I love it.
One thing that you guys, we haven't even touched is that he volunteers in the Lions nonprofit organization. It's a big organization. It's international, actually. And it was also last year wherein it went to his lap and he became the governor, correct me if I'm wrong, for 1 year. And tell us more about what does a governor of Lions nonprofit does?
What happened is I've been a Lions Club member since the late 90s.
Okay.
And so, in those nonprofit organizations, when you do a good job, they promote you, and it's all volunteer. And so they had been asking me to be governor for many years. And I said, I never had the time. I'm always busy. And so finally, I finally said, you know what? Okay, I'll do it, And so it's actually a 3-year term of training. And then you serve a year for the actual Lions Club governor. And so I was over about 600 Lions Club members in Texas. And so you basically, you help them when they have problems with their Lions clubs. And you also are the middleman between the state and the Lions International worldwide. And so you're the middleman for them. And so it was very rewarding, but it was most people do it when they're retired because it takes a lot of time. And so I would get frustrated because my training suffered, but I still made time. I still made time to train because I'm a happier person when I'm training and when I'm doing endurance events. And so we were able to pull it off, but it was very, very difficult. I had to really work on my time management.
Yeah. He was doing at least 1 hour. He actually told me before he accepted it, Coach, this is what I'm going to do. Can you just give me 1 hour? And it's not just that. He was flying a lot. You were flying. You were driving long hours. And it's you are a doctor. You are optometrist, right? And you own properties. And you have family. And you have training. With all that in your plate, did you get injured, sick?
No, I didn't.
A year. Yeah. And you were doing the 52.4 miles. You were still swimming, cycling, and running. You did the half marathons. And
we talked about this one time that when I was a marathoner, I would always get sick the day after the marathon. I always did. Something happened to my immune system every time. And so, and now it doesn't. And so there's something, the only variant in there is coaching. That's the only variant because I was training on my own. And then I would always get sick or injured after a marathon. Something happened there where I don't know if I would go all out during the race or I didn't have a clue what paces I was doing, I would just go do the event, and train and then do the event, but it always would get injured or sick after the event. So that there's definitely the only variant is coaching.
Wow. Now that you're not getting sick, now you're like, Coach, let me do these races. You're just like race. But then what's amazing about it is that you're okay and you're not even sore, even after that back-to-back cycling event that you did.
Yeah, this weekend was tough. That's the toughest cycling event I've ever done. And so because the second day was on sore, tired legs, and we still had the 6 mile, 1,500 foot elevation gain. You're straight up for 40 minutes, going straight up, going. I think I got to 3 miles an hour one time. It was so steep.
And wow. And he actually averages 230 watts. Part of it is there's 10%, 12% grade. This one is second day. The first day he already climbed 75 miles and he actually got a PR in course.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, because I had done it previously. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was actually wanting to know a little bit of what made you decide to go for coaching in the first place. Because for many people, they're like, okay, I can just do it myself. I can just watch YouTube. I'll just put in a lot more work. I'm gonna do it.
And I think some People have that talent. I couldn't do it alone. And I'm a very independent man, and I'm very independent on many things. I've done, everything on my own in my whole life, everything I've accomplished. And this I couldn't do alone. I could not do it alone. I see online, like some of the Facebook groups, some people say, I'm going to do an Ironman, and they do it in 6 months. No problem. That's amazing to me. I couldn't do it. I needed help. And that's really hard for me to ask for help because I'm a very independent person. I never like to ask for help. I guess it's culturally, I was raised as that's a sign of weakness. You never ask for help. Even if you're bleeding to death, you don't ask for help. I don't know if it's the old school, thinking or old world thinking, but I had to ask for help, and that was very hard for me to do. And I'm so glad I did, because I would have not been a triathlete without coach. I would have gave up because it was my third, fourth swim coach already. And I had swim coaches, that's their job. And they couldn't make me swim. And on site, they were on site. They were watching me next to the pool, and they couldn't make me swim. And this was remote with just videos.
That is so interesting. So what was the reason, the number one reason that you were like, okay, I will trust this another coach
online
that you don't know, that's online?
It was because of my cousin. She was an Ironman, and she became an Ironman under coach. And that's why she said, you trust me, this is the way you're going to do it. And I said, okay, I'll trust you.
I was telling Gracie, you both have good genes. Look at Gracie ramping up, crushing the races. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's huge accomplishment of yours, JB. It's really, because you said old fashioned, right? Because I've had those athletes who's like old fashioned. I want my coach to be here telling me like a military. And then besides, you also have technology. You never had Garmin. Must be a lot of I think it's like your last resort. It's like, okay, if that didn't work out, I'll just
do something else.
I'm gonna go somewhere else, right?
But once I asked for help, I really had to do everything I was told. Okay. Because then it would have been my fault. Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like nutrition. You talk a lot about nutrition. I have to watch that. How's my nutrition? And I do, because that's so important too. It's kind of like, think of it like a three or four-legged table. Without one leg, it just collapses. So, I was talking to a friend recently. She's a fitness person, and she was so surprised at our training as a triathlete. And she was saying, she goes, you have to have clean food. You have to have clean nutrition, because you cannot have those workouts every week, like this weekend. She goes, you have your nutrition dialed right in. If not, you couldn't do it. And you're really good about helping us with that. Always saying it's not just about the workout. It's like, what happened? What nutrition did you have? What hydration? And I never even thought about that with previous training, like Taekwondo or marathon training. I never thought about that.
I mean, I've cycled in Texas. It's very hot and humid there. It's over 100. And then I was asking you, like, were you thirsty after that training ride? Mm-hmm. So I was very concerned.
Well, I just saw a really interesting question from Andrea, and I wanted to ask Javey. So she's wondering what made you stop getting sick after the marathons. She said she threw up after her last duathlon due to the heat and nutrition. But do you remember what kind of was the key maybe?
Coaching. I mean, that's it. Because before I was coached, I never thought about a lot of things. For example, I'd do a marathon. I would probably go out with my friends the night before and go to a bar or whatever. You didn't ever think about, did you get plenty of rest? Did you have the proper nutrition 3 days before? Did you get a massage? There's things I had no clue, and now it's just, and sometimes I get, I'll be honest and I'll say it publicly, I get frustrated with coach, because sometimes I think she treats me like I'm a pro athlete and I'm not. This is a hobby, but I'm like, well, that's that's how it's supposed to be. But I do get frustrated. Like, man, she treats me like a pro athlete.
Superhuman. You're not a pro athlete. You're better than that. Come on.
But that's the secret to it. That she does treat me like a pro athlete. Like, let's look at every aspect. There's sometimes I hadn't even thought about emotionally what's going on in your life that translates into your performance. I never even thought about that. Like when I was governor, I was so busy going, to all these, we have to go to banquets and stand up, be at the head table of banquets, and we have to eat whatever they give us there. And then if I had too many of those events, then my performance and my training would go way down. And I had to mention that to coach and say, hey, just trash these last 3 days. I can't perform in my training, Yep. Wow. Or like in traveling, I had to do a lot of traveling, we had to say, okay, where are we? Do we have access to a little gym at the hotel? Do we have a trail where I can run? There's no biking this weekend, things like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
We're talking about also Superhuman, and I know you as not being satisfied or just being average. It's like you got to be always big. It's like you always raise the bar. Tell me more about that character of yours, Jay, because I know there's a lot of other athletes in the group who actually share the same thing.
Yeah, they don't want to be average.
Like, to me, I'm uneasy. Like, I try to just be there, but I ended up like, oh, you know what? That's really me. I'm not happy if I'm not doing my best.
Yeah, the problem is I think there's something wrong with me. I think I have like a different gene in there, because when I don't do these endurance events and things like that, I get depressed. I really do. I don't know. I truly think there's something wrong with me, because that's pushing the envelope and getting looking at death in the face. I mean, literally, that's what makes me happy. When I just do work and going to work and not, I get depressed. And I think that it's definitely a 1%er quality, and so.
I've heard this before. It's probably more common than you think. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that.
I think the triathlete community, it's more common there, because it is such a hard sport,
Anyone here who can relate, like what Javey is saying? Are you one of those who's just like that DNA that you just want to be always aiming for something big, and if it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna finish this one, do whatever, But then once you started knowing that, hey, it is actually possible to be aiming big, then you start like, ooh, all right, here you go. Let's do it again. Good. Okay, so that's amazing. Now, one thing that I wanted to also talk about is about your swimming, because you started we talk about you overcoming that fear. What do you think are the aspects? Because I know there are also other athletes, like I was one of them. Like it took me 2 years before I actually signed up for a triathlon. Because I
think also it's not only the fear of the water, but also my age, because I'm middle-aged, trying to learn that sport. It's such a technical sport too. Once I learned that it was a technical sport, then I'm like, bingo, I became a better swimmer, and you don't know that when you get into the water. You don't realize your body position, how you're pulling the water, the importance of drills. You don't realize that without a coach. You look at a video and you're like, I can do that. I can do that video, but then you can't see yourself, how you're doing the video. And then you have a professional swimmer doing the video. That's who usually does those videos. It's not an average person with a little bit of a gut, that's trying to swim, it's not, it's like a super slender athletic person that's been swimming since they were 4 years old. So I think that also helps that, trying to your mindset of, oh, that's what swimming is about, and so.
So you basically liked that you were able to approach it in like little bits. Components. Little
yeah, and at first, it's very difficult, because they're like, well, how's your legs? What are your legs doing? What's your knees doing? What's your body position? Are you pulling the raw? And you're like, oh my God, it's so much. I'm trying not to drown here. That's what I'm trying not to do. But then after you really, and now I do that when I swim. I'm like, well, how's my body position? What am I, but in the beginning, it's very difficult.
You sound like a very good student of mine. Good job. Yes, you got to know what everything's doing, like the hip, the shoulder, your body position. It's very, very important.
Yeah, but you don't learn it that way. That's what it was referring to in small.
Yeah, what my 4-year, when I went to the 4-year-old class, that coach was saying, good job, you made it to the end. And I'm like, I didn't learn anything here. And she's like, well, you made it to the end. You have never made it to the end. That's the 4-year-old class. And you didn't drown. You didn't swallow water. And it's like, what? It's very frustrating to me, because I wanted to learn. I wanted a different level of knowledge. And, the coach just telling me, go back to the other end now. and don't drown on the way back. Oh, good job. I'm like, that's no value to me, you know?
Wow.
It's funny you said that because I'm the opposite. When I'm actually training a person, like the goal is not to get to the end part. The goal is for you to do the right thing right now. Like we need that particular breathing on the side. I'm going to tap you because I don't want you to repeat that habit. It's not about getting fast there. I need the right way right now.
Yeah, it's funny how you start even without
Thank you for saying
swimming.
that because that's not
you start with like not moving at all, and they're
know.
already doing the things that they need to be doing. That's and that's surprising to a lot of people.
How about overcoming open water, the fear? Because I know
Yes,
this.
that's very scary to me.
How is
Yeah,
that
that's
right now?
very scary.
I
Yeah,
know
that's
you
so
did it in
scary.
open water last time in the river.
Yeah.
That was your first
Yeah, it
one.
was really a mind thing, you know?
Tell us
And
more about
yeah, it was a mind thing, but I had to count on my training. So when I showed up, I said I had to talk to myself and say, I put the work in, you know, I have the training, I have the skills, I'm going to be okay. And that helped tremendously, you know, and it was only 300 yards, you know, but to me that was huge because there was, you know, that was nonstop 300. I've never done that. So mentally I had to tell myself. And then, you know, when I'm in there, I'm starting to rock like a boat. And I've never experienced that. And that was really odd, you know? And so I felt so happy after I got out of there. I was so hyper.
that.
And so
So,
now I'm ready, you know, I'm ready to take the next step to, you know, and when I remember when I interviewed you, I said my short-term goal is do a
mhm.
try and then a sprint. And then my long-term is an Ironman. So
Yeah. You were actually even treating open water a monster. You might still be treating it that way, but
yes, yes, but it's
you
better.
have been doing
It's
a lot of self-talk and then
yeah.
trusting. Do you mind
Mhm.
just kind of like, if you don't mind, just elaborating just to help our athletes? Like, how do you go by that? Like, for example, let's say what you did, open water, first, the triathlon with open water. How did you feel during the week? Were you doing anything besides training? Like,
Well, you know, let me take you back.
sure.
Every time I would get into the pool, because I almost drowned in a beach. I got caught in a rip current. And I didn't know how to swim, and I almost drowned. And so it was during a hurricane. I shouldn't have been in the water. I went in the water with snorkeling gear on, the one you buy at the little dollar store, and I got caught in that rip current during a hurricane. I almost died. So whenever I would get in the pool, the water, the water would be at my chest, and the water would raise all the way to the ceiling in my mind. It was really weird. And so imagine trying to learn how to swim when you're seeing the water fill up the room where the pool is, you know, an indoor pool. And so that over time started feeling better and better. And so the first time I went into a diving pool, the pool looked like it was 500 feet deep. And
Wow.
like I could see like algae growing down there, and it's just a
That's how you
pool.
call monster.
Yeah, so it looks like a like big open jaws about to eat me. It was really weird. It's subconscious,
That.
and it's getting better. You know, it's getting better. I
Yeah.
haven't had that this year was the first time. Every time I jump in deep pools, no issues. You know, no issues at all. So it's been really hard. It's not just about the skill, but it's the mindset too that's being
Also,
conquered.
no hyperventilation, none of that either.
Nothing. No. Yeah, that
Wow.
was one of the problems when I would get the panic attack. I couldn't breathe, so I had to go on my back during the race. It was really embarrassing, you know, because the people are going around you going, "What is this guy doing?" You know, backstroking it in the race. And so it would take me like 100 yards to finally get my breathing under control. It was very frustrating. And we never quit. That was the most stubborn thing. I never quit. I said, I can't quit. I have to conquer this.
Anyone else who's relating to JV?
That's
Who's
amazing.
Because as of right now, if you're very afraid of the water, a lot of mindset work that you guys are still doing, share it in the group. What have you been doing that, you've been able to actually overcome that? So at least other athletes who are still also struggling that can hear, like, what's your tactics? What did you do? Right? One of the things that JV said is trust the training, that he put some work. And every time, a lot of self-talk, a lot of self-talk. Good. All right. Another question. Another question.
So what, going back to coaching, I guess, let's see, what would you say made the biggest difference for you working together with Coach Shangrila on your goals?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Like, what would you say is made the biggest difference during the actual coaching? The things that she did or taught you or whatever that she was able to.
You know what? One thing there's so many. I could talk to you for 5 hours about how much I love her.
Oh, Javey.
Pick the top first.
The one thing I like is that she adjusts to life, your training. That's so important to my life, especially when I'm busy, because I'm like, hey, this happened. You know, for example, I try to get up every day at 4 or 5 in the morning to train. And some nights, you know, I'll have some friends over and we'll stay up till 1 in the morning. I can't get up the next day. And she's understanding to that. Say, hey, I had a long night. I'm sorry. I was horrible and stayed up late and I could not get up. Boom. The training readjusts for that. Or, hey, I was really busy. I had a horrible day at work. I got home, felt like crap. You know, threw some furniture in my house. I was so upset. I had a horrible day at work. Boom. Adjust the training. She's not like, you still have to go train. I don't care what's happening around your life. And that's real world coaching. It's not like, here's a spreadsheet, check off all the training. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world around you. That's like so awesome to have a coach like that, you know? But she also says, nothing's happening in your life. Why aren't you training? You got to train, because you get in a slump where you take 2-3 days off because something happened in your life, and then everything goes back to normal, and then you stop training because you want to start slacking. She's also there, like, you see her up on the hill with the whip, and she's like, what's going on? There's nothing happening in your life. You're slacking. You're getting off your training track. Yes, coach, you're absolutely right. Let's get back on track. And I like that too. So it's just the right amount, you know, of pressure, but also an understanding that it's a hobby. We're busy people. You know, we're professionals in our jobs, and so that I like that. That's a really cool thing, you know.
Nice.
Which no other coach ever had that with me, because I still have, you know, friends that are, you know, they're coaches, running coaches, and they give you a training plan and they just get it off the internet and they put it on there and say, here's, oh, you missed your run yesterday. Okay, we'll just go on with continue with that program. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense. You missed this, you know, if you're training for a marathon, you missed a 22-mile run. Oh, that's okay. Just go. Well, then that doesn't make sense. You're not accomplishing. You're not accomplishing the fitness by, you know, adjusting that.
And you could hurt yourself too. And it can be very stressful.
Yeah, skipping important key workouts. Yeah, you can't really progress that way. Okay.
You know, coach is real good about, hey, you know, this ankle or whatever, just an example, this ankle's acting weird. Oh God. Okay. Let's watch that. Let's pull back on the training a little bit. Let that, you know, that's a warning. Let's not make that an injury. And, you know, and that's pretty neat. Instead of saying, oh, ignore that, keep training, you know.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. How can we recover fast is the question, actually. Because, hey, you said you have a race. What do you want on that race? Because sometimes, you know, if you have a race, we have to be clear with your goals too. Mm-hmm. And then you have been much better actually in planning the races, telling me ahead of time rather than surprising me. Coach, I have a marathon next week. Now I'm like, no surprises, which is way much better. So thank you for that. So see, I know there's a lot of athletes who are also very busy. We talk about your swimming, your fear, okay, and also your charity work and all your other works as well. What we would love to know, how do you do this? How do you manage your time? How do you keep yourself sane?
You know, I have to be real good about, for example, I have a big whiteboard calendar in my bathroom. So when I get up in the morning, I look at what's happening, and I have to be real organized to make it happen. And so I have that morning calendar in my bathroom, and then I have a calendar at work. And so I sometimes I can't pull it off. Sometimes it's too much. And so I've had to be real good about saying no, because I'll have friends call me and, hey, we want to do this. And so many people know that I can put together. I'm real good about community organizing things. So a lot of people contact me, hey, can you put this on this event? And I can't, you know, I've had to be better about saying no. because I just can't. In the old days, I was able to say yes to everything. And then my life was crazy and I wasn't very happy. So I've been better about saying no and seeing what's important in my life, and so after I stopped being governor, I still get Lions clubs that call me and think I can solve their problems. And I try, but sometimes I tell them I can't. I'm not the governor anymore because I developed that relationship with those Lions clubs. But yeah, it's really, you have to really be organized and learn to say no. Very important. Learn to say no when something doesn't make you happy or something doesn't goes with your goals. Say no. That's so important. For example, hey, let's go drinking. No, you can do that, but look at your life. What's happening? For example, I have a marathon this weekend. I get invited to go drinking this week. No, that's not, or a triathlon this weekend. No. What? Yeah. Antisocial a little bit because I'm a triathlete. That's
How about let's go 5K run race tomorrow morning? Yes.
That makes me happy. I might do it.
There you go. Awesome. All right. Good. Are you guys taking notes? I hope you guys have a calendar in your bathroom, calendar at your work. Be able to say no. Know your priorities. Okay. Do things that makes you happy. That's based on your goals. So looks like you're very clear with your goals, Javey. That's what I love about you. Now, okay, so now let's go back to so if you still remember how you were in triathlon, wanting to be a triathlete back in 2019, and then now you've come a long way. You've actually lost some weight too, a lot of weight, being toned up. Now you're telling me, Coach, I don't want to lose more weight. I need to lift more weight and eat more. But and also, now that you actually have won in your age group, now that you have more confidence, how does that feel? How did you even think about this one? That you will
No, it's a totally different world that you opened up. It's really awesome. Because that goes right with my personality. That's what makes me happy, and to conquer these hard things. Just the 6 mile climb we did Sunday on tired legs, I was able to accomplish that. And, you get a hat. They give you a hat, a finisher's hat it was 40 of us out of the 300 cyclists that finished it. And it's this is mind blowing. I can't believe I have this fitness, because when I showed up at that race, I was in the very back of the crowd of the 40 cyclists. And I'm like, I shouldn't even be here. I'm a beginner triathlete. Your mind starts. And so once I started cycling, I was like, wait a minute, I can do this. Holy crap. I can actually pull this off. And, just adrenaline dump on your body of all this training paid off. This is amazing. And, it lasted I'm 2-3 days, the happiness and the joy of seeing your work produce results. And everybody's different. I guess if somebody likes golf and they win a golf tournament, that makes them happy. I'm not a golfer. That doesn't bring me happiness. I've tried it and it's no, this isn't challenging enough. This is not extreme enough for me. And so it's just really awesome feeling, to be a triathlete. And I can just imagine what it would feel like to finish a 70.3 or a full Ironman. Wow, that is going to be incredible.
Let me show you actually before, because this one is very recent. We're talking about this just past weekend. And let me see if I can share it very quickly. I have some windows open here. So this was just last weekend. Day 1, sub 5 hours, going for 15 miles per hour, PR, 75 miles with 4,000 feet elevation gain, 175 watts average power. And the next day, he had to wake up again. Actually, on day 1, he fell on his bike. Something went wrong. And then day 2, he said, tell us, how was it waking up on day 2? Did you feel like you're going to go or not?
Yeah, if I fell on mile 65, I just tipped over because when I laid my bike over at the aid station, my chain came off. And so the highway was so steep, so we're on this aid station on the side of the mountain where it's so steep. So the chain came off. So I clipped in one foot and then I pushed off to get momentum to keep going uphill. And as soon as I pushed off, the back tire just locked up. And so I was trying to unclip and I couldn't because the street was slanted. The highway was slanted. So I fell into the pavement, sideways into the pavement. And of course, you know, with every 25 people watching, it's so embarrassing. That hurt more than the busted knee. And so I was so worried because I said, this can't happen. I can't get injured during. And so it was just a superficial wound, you know, because the next morning I woke up and I really couldn't walk on it, but I still showed up. I said, I can't not show up. And thank God it wasn't a serious knee injury. It was just where I fell on the pavement. But yeah, that was really scary. I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to do it. So.
And he's doing okay, actually. But day 2, he did very well. He was going all the way to 235 watts.
Wow.
And this one, you know, the highest grade was 10-12% grade. I checked his training peaks, and even his wife was having a hard time just walking up. And this one is right after.
Yeah, that was very impressive. Wow, the watts.
Yes, and see, before when I first started cycling, I didn't even have a clue what that meant. You know, so
you didn't even know what power is.
So I knew my FTP and all that because of you, and so I knew I'm putting in the work. I'm doing 110% here for this event, you know, so that really helps you mentally know that man, I'm doing good on this, you know.
What does your daughter or your wife think about you accomplishing? Because I know they saw you, and there's something that you shared to me, if you don't mind, about like it has taught her some lesson.
Yeah, she's kind of seen how, you know, she mentioned a comment about how you do the work and then you see product of that. Mm-hmm. And so that was really neat because there's a small hill near my town where I just would go up and down this hill as hard as I could and during my training. And one time I came home and mentioned it at dinner and she was listening. And then later that evening she said, "Oh, you see that doing those hill repeats, it paid off." And I was like, wow, that was cool. She just learned a lesson about, you know, getting results from putting in the work. That was really neat.
Watching you.
Yeah, she's a teenager.
They're watching you. Mm-hmm. The people in the community. All right.
So what are you most excited about accomplishing moving forward now that you're here at this point? What's ahead of you?
Well, you know, the whole goal has been, the long-term goal has been the Ironman. So, you know, by doing the 2 back-to-back marathons, that was also a test for me to see how would I react being 12, 13 hours on a course. You know, so I kind of see that, I was able to do that. Also, you know, I've done 112-mile biking in the heat, in the Texas heat. So then I said, hey, I felt great. I'm able to do that. You know, the swim, I've done the 4,400 in the pool nonstop, and I felt great. And so I'm thinking, man, this is building blocks, you know, and so I'm really excited about the future. I just, you know, my weakness is what open water swim, you know, what's going to happen, what's my brain going to do, because it's very subconscious, the panic attacks, you know. And so, as you know, a lot of times I read articles where people die in the water because of panic attacks. Yeah. And that really makes me, you know, it's like, wow, I really got to control that. I got to, my swim fitness, my swim, how well of a swimmer I am, I really have to really dial that in, you know. That's the goal of this next year.
Yes. And you know, everyone, we've been talking, Javey and I have been talking about this. I've been sharing to him, and if you guys are listening to this, I too had the same instance wherein I am already a strong swimmer, but then there's this subconscious still reminding me, you used to not know how to swim. You're going to panic. This one happened before. You know, it took a while, but I kept just showing up, kept reminding myself, looking at the training. And this is the same thing that I keep telling Javey. These are the things that I tell Javey before the race, just really feeding. So if you guys are listening to this and you have that fear, use those wins, small wins during workouts.
Remind yourself. Yes.
And if I did this one and I overcome it, and then just building steps. You're doing amazing, Javey. You have not shared about the cycling that you were thinking.
Oh yeah, I want to do another charity event for the Texas Lions Camp for the kids with physical disabilities next spring. I think April, May. I want to do 200 miles from the camp where the kids are, all the way to the state convention where they're going to hold the big Lions Club state convention, which is going to be from Kerrville to Abilene. It's 200 miles of hills. So I'm going to start training for that's really scary event, but I'm going to train for it. I think I might be able to pull that off. So
very inspiring. So everyone, did you just hear that? Javey just created a race for him, or created a big goal, an actually bigger goal than an Ironman. It's a 200-mile, and with purpose. He wants to raise funds for the Lions nonprofit organization.
It's to me, it's I've noticed that when you do something like, there's many aspects to the events like that. Like, for example, when I did the double marathon, some people said it's impossible. No human can do that. Nobody can run 50 miles nonstop. And so it attracts an excitement. Instead of saying, can you give me $5 for this summer camp for fit kids with fit? Well, some people do that. But when you say, would you like to be part of this humongous thing, and people just jump on board. And so that's what I want to do with that 200 miles. I want people to think that's impossible. No human can ride a bicycle 200 miles through the hills, because it's really hill. It's called the Texas Hill Country. So it's real hilly there.
Hill country.
Yeah, the hill country. And so it's central Texas. And so, I think that hype you build, they go, I want to be part of this, So the double marathon was 10 grand and 10,500 they raised.
Congratulations.
And so the camp was so happy with that, because they, the kids attend the camp free. So we provide the money and the camp is free to the parents. And so all the kids with physical disabilities get a camp for them, compared to those kids can't go to a regular summer camp, because those camps are not made for kids with physical disabilities. This one is only designed for kids with physical disabilities, and they get to go free for their parents for a week. So
that's amazing.
Do you guys hear why I love coaching and helping athletes just like Javey? Now he has been an example, a leader, inspiring people, individuals, not just athletes, but actually his community, being the leader that, hey, it's possible. You raise funds, help out nonprofit organization, the children with disability. Isn't that amazing? So he doesn't wait for a race. He does it like, what can I do? What are the big goals? So I hope this one really has inspired many of you. Like, don't put limitation. You could, just like Javey, he's been just create things. Hey, maybe I'll do this. Guess what? That 200 mile that he said right now, I did not say that. That's him. Because he got the win on the 52.4 at the time. That was his first ever ultra, by the way. He started for full marathon only. He did not go 50K. He went all out. And he did that. He actually said, hey, coach, I'm turning 52. Maybe I'll do 52. Okay, let's train for it. And then now, 200. Who else can create goals here? Like, out of the norm, just create it. Even if, like, can I even do that one? But guess what? He knows that he can train for it. Is that right? Good. Well, from feistyfoxcoaching, Javey, we are very proud of you. I know it's just the beginning, okay? So much growth ahead of you. You got that 200 mile. I know that 70.3 is coming up, and the full Ironman will be up. It's coming there. For every one of you in Ironman and Beyond who have watched Javey's story, who have been inspired, this is what we do with feistyfoxcoaching. We help busy high achievers crush their races, no matter what levels you're at. We love working with athletes just like Javey, who has big goals, and sometimes it could be impossible. Some of the athletes who come to me, coach, can I do a 70.3 in 6 weeks? I have not gone to the pool. But there are athletes like that. If that's you, but you have big goals, you know what? We actually give you a free 15-minute call wherein we just basically, okay, what's your goal? What are your top challenges? What's stopping you from getting there? maybe we do have a free training available already in Ironman and Beyond. If you look at Ironman and Beyond, there's a lot of free training resources there. Or on that call, okay, we don't sell you anything, but what we give you, our value, wherein maybe what's stopping you is because you just need to do time management. Or you could probably be inspired by just listening. All you need to do is that to know that another individual did it. Just like this training here, knowing that other athletes were actually in your shoes. And that's why we do this live training. So we can actually help you out, encourage you. Hey, coach, can I get that 15-minute call so I can just talk and give me just homework so I can sometimes athletes just need a push. I'll just, and then no, it's up to you if you do the work. And also, that's also a time for us to determine whether we can help you, because we don't help all athletes, okay? We help these high achievers who's ready to actually go get their goals right now, take actions right now. If you are aiming for something, wait, maybe, just let's do more of the live training, learn on your own, or, get on a call, okay? So let's ask Javey. Okay, let's ask Javey. Javey, is there anything that you would want to share to us in terms of if an athlete is coming just like you, what you have experienced, what are the top 2 things that you have advice for them?
The main thing is, and I've it happened to me in middle age, is do things that make you happy. So important. What makes you happy? That's the whole essence of life. To me, doing these endurance events, makes me happy, and making other people's lives better makes me happy. Those are the 2 things that, I try to strive to do every week, be in really awesome shape. One of the guys I look up to is David Goggins. I want to be like him when I grow up. So, that's kind of the mentality I have, like David Goggins, and try to make the world better for people, for people that are, disadvantaged or underprivileged. And so those things, that's kind of my mindset. And, the second thing is, if you're a person that likes to set goals, make sure that you have the tools to make those goals, come to fruit. And so, because it's very frustrating when you have a goal and you can't achieve it. So you got to really analyze, break down why am I not, so those 2 things is my advice, the 2 things that make you happy. And then, if you're a goal person, which I'm assuming everybody on this call is, say what tools do I need to make these goals, come to reality.
Javey, you're inspirational. You're amazing. There's nothing that you cannot do. You just excel, and just your time management. I am just so honored and humbled, because you inspire me, and you tell me that I'm your life coach, but honestly, you teach me life of the way I witness you. Like, how does this guy do what he does, and he's still not getting sick? He's a superhuman. He's a superhuman. I want to be like him. Actually, so if you guys want to have a call, just put down, comment below, superhuman, call, coach, help me out. All right. So everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it was part 2. We got some internet problem today. I'm glad we got it all down. And I'm really happy. If you enjoyed this one, we will be having another one every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We will see you there. Thank you again, Javey. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.